So when I talk to people about the conditions that are necessary to disrupt the conventional model of schooling, a common question I get is, didn't we try charter schooling over the last 20 or 30 years? While I think charter schools have a lot of the conditions that are necessary to break through from the conventional model, there's a couple things that have held them back. Number one, the big bargain of charter schooling was that they would get greater flexibility in exchange for greater accountability. But that accountability was usually to deliver on the same things that conventional schools were expected to deliver on. And so what did charter schools do? They copied conventional schools and just tried to do what those schools did better in order to deliver on those same promises. Second, charter schools, in order to get authorized by a state or a district, they had to put together a plan that would show, here's how from day one when we open our doors, we're going to be able to do all the things that schools are expected to do. And that didn't give them the runway they needed to really try out new practices and evolve those practices over time. Third is that a lot of the most well-known charter schools, the ones that were touting their test scores and their students' college completion rates, they were competing head-to-head with conventional schools. And so their proposition to families was, look, we'll do everything your conventional school does, but do it better. And by the very nature of them taking that approach from the beginning, they've set themselves up to have to copy conventional practices and just get really good at doing conventional practices. And then last of all, what's happened over time is that districts have made the case that, hey, it's not fair that charter schools don't have to follow all the rules we follow. The regulations have been ratcheted up to make charter schools follow the same rules and the same practices that districts have to follow, and therefore making them default into conventional approaches to schooling. So while charter schools did have the autonomy from district bureaucracies and district structures that allowed them to potentially think differently about schooling, a lot of these other forces still steered them back toward conventional approaches to schooling, which is why most charter schools really haven't gone that far astray from conventional approaches.